For about as long as life has existed on Earth, there has always been a natural order to things. Food chains, governments, working positions, economic classes, and societies. These are all examples of systems that have been in place since the dawn of man, even when humanity was little more than primitive hunter-gatherer life. But even then, order still existed. Order is inside of all things, of all shapes and sizes. But what happens when order is manipulated? What happens when the way things are is changed and altered to produce a different outcome and conversely, a difference in order? This is called a rigged system. Rigged is a 15th century nautical term, meaning to bind or to wrap. And a system is defined as a set of things working together as a part of a mechanism or an interconnecting network. The term rigged system itself is used very infrequently and has become an unknown definition for the state of many mechanisms. Me and my peers in Mr. Pollock's fourth period English class at Fairfield Ward High School were asked to create large and broad questions that we did not know the answers to. Does the ideal society exist? Who defines what is normal? Do we have a choice, or is our life already paved out for us? These were some of the questions we came up with. And then, from these deeply existential and unanswerable questions, Wallace Brune, Emma Chapman, Andrew Corsi, Ian Trabucco, and I were asked one simple and final question, and we were asked to answer it the best we could. What is a rigged system? Rigged systems exist everywhere, in nature, in our society, within our government, inside our interests and hobbies, and everywhere we look. The following production is a compilation of our observations and interpretations of what rigged systems are and their effects on life as a high schooler. We hope you enjoy, and we encourage you to think about what a rigged system means to you.
Nothing much.
What's
the
the
math
matter?
test was really hard.
The one we just took?
Yeah.
I thought that was so easy.
Like an 82. It was very hard.
You're kidding.
I'm not. I even studied for like 4 hours.
I studied too. I got a 95. But that's still a good grade.
Compared to a 95, that's not really that good.
Just
of a grade.
depends how much effort you put in.
I put in a lot of effort.
So did I.
So it's whatever.
I mean, it's still like an okay grade. It's fine.
Thanks.
Okay. Hey guys. Hi. What'd you guys got in math test?
98.
98. 98.
You all got 98s?
Yeah.
What'd you get? 95.
That's still good, I guess.
Yeah, I still think it's really good. Yeah, you should be proud of it.
For you.
Our society tells us that perfection is a standard when in reality it's not realistic. People can't help it to compare grades because our system strives on competition. There will always be someone better, and good is never good enough.
To me, a rigged system is a structure of some sort that acts in a corrupt manner and teaches us that their system is what's normal and what's right, when really it takes away a lot from different aspects of our lives. So I made this collage, if you will, illustrating how much media influences us and how the concentration of media in our lives tends to make us lose our own identities. And I think it causes a lot of us not to be authentic anymore. And it's really hard to find someone that is genuinely unique. And a lot of the time we can see people kind of mirroring what we see in media, like if it's whatever, like Instagram or, or like celebrities or even TV shows. I think a lot of us try to act like that and use them as inspiration for how we live our lives. And I think that's kind of what the system paints for us, that is what we should do when it really isn't, and we have to embrace what makes us who we are and what makes us us. So for this, I basically just drew a portrait of myself and then made my face fade away to illustrate how we lose our identity from media. And then I put a collage of random examples of technology in the background. I chose the ones that I think are most influential to our age group, and that we use most often, like Instagram, Visco, YouTube, things like that, I think are what really we use the most.
All right, so music, as we all know, is like an art form that spreads very diversely, with many genres and subgenres kind of cascading across one another, sometimes interlocking, sometimes diverging, sometimes departing completely. Music is a very expressional form of art that can be taken from music that is simple and minimalist, such as more ambient forms of music that concentrate on making like soundscapes, complex types of progressive music that draw from other genres such as rock and roll, jazz, classical, etc., to even genres such as noise music or shoegaze. In short, music is a very kind of wide and diverse art form that can transcend many boundaries and create pieces that evoke feelings, emotion, thoughts, etc. Now, kind of diverging off of that, a lot of people, like many of you, are familiar with a lot of modern music we see nowadays. Genres like rap, hip hop, and pop have kind of replaced rock and other major genres as the domineering genres of music commonly found in like the media and the radio. Artists like Billie Eilish, Travis Scott, Shawn Mendes, Lady Gaga are some of the very names that have replaced previous bands/artists that once dominated radio. Artists like Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin, David Bowie, Nirvana have become less household names. Instead, we find ourselves being replaced by a lot of less guitar, drums, and bass-driven music, and often more artificial digital music created using things like drum machines, synthesizers, computer programs, like Logic, GarageBand, or whatever. So these are some of the trends that we see today in terms of popular music that are quite noticeable to many listeners, but we've begun to see less of certain things in more popular music. Experimentation, for instance, seems spread thin across the vein of popular music today, as we have far more musicians seemingly playing it safe and taking less risks in their sort of sound to stay in a favorable light with both their fans and casual listeners. So, of course, we see different amounts of experimentation in music, but taking two songs, for instance, In Memory of Elizabeth Reed by the Allman Brothers Band and Area Tarka by the Mars Volta, we see how they differ from music today, such as songs like Lucid Dreams by Juice WRLD or Seven Rings by Ariana Grande. In Memory of Elizabeth Reed is a jazz fusion instrumental rock song that has elements and influences of jazz, rock, fusion, R&B, and Latin music. The song is punctuated in the beginning with dual guitar leads and harmonies, supported by jazzy and Latin American jazz-esque drumming, along with lingering bass and organ underneath. The song takes a sudden turn into a more playful and up-tempo section, which then climaxes with a guitar solo, an organ solo, and then another guitar solo before it restates its original theme until it fades out. Area Tarka, on the other hand, is a progressive rock song that contains elements of jazz, rock, hardcore punk, psychedelic rock, and free jazz. The song opens with distorted guitar melody being supported by heavily delayed ambient guitar notes, a jazz-like rhythm section, and subdued vocals. The song then noticeably shifts pace and explodes with a complex rhythm section playing over a syncopated vocal line as the guitar carries a somewhat dissonant rhythm under everything. At the end of the chorus, we're greeted by a short free jazz-like section before it restates the verse theme. This repeats until the song reaches its bridge, taking on a mix of progressive rock and hardcore punk until the song ultimately ends on a free jazz soundscape. Now these are not the only differences in music, as we often forget something very overlooked and crucial in music like this, lyrics. While Elizabeth Reed is instrumental, it strikes its feeling through its music and instrumentation and its melody. Tarka, on the other hand, differs from our current day song lyrics, as it offers surrealistic depictions inside of a conceptual story the lyricist of the band wrote, a concept album, if you will. These songs' lyrics show the diversity and variation like that music is open to creating, as well as Tarka. Tarka is part of a conceptual album that regards an entire story. A song like Lucid Dreams is a song about heartbreak, like a common theme in popular music today, and it deals with themes of disappointment and sadness, among others. Now, these differences do not make one specific type of music better than the other, as it is ultimately down to personal taste. No one genre is technically better than the other. Music is one of the most kind of diverse art forms that are able to convey complex emotions and feeling through many diverse forms and genres. Jazz, rock, progressive rock, metal, R&B, Latin, as such. Yet it still falls victim to things like following the crowd and unoriginality like we see today with many forms of popular music. It relates to rigged systems, as we see a lot of people sort of conforming to the normal sort of sound that a lot of music nowadays is created by. We see a lot of the same sort of rap and pop kind of songs, all with the same sort of structure, a lot of lyrics through many different genres and stuff that's played on the radio, all carries certain themes, such as one of the big ones is always heartbreak or love and stuff like that, romanticism. But that's kind of what a lot of music carries today, and it shows that a lot of people are taking a lot of less risks with their stuff. A lot of popular music is really sort of engineered to be successful, and it's in turn sort of taking a lot of original and great music out there that is being sort of pushed off to the side and stuff like that.
So, now you have seen 3 different interpretations of rigged systems in school, media, and music, all comparing and contrasting the nature of their systems. Now, dear viewer, I ask you this: where do you see rigged systems? Have they been in front of you this entire time? Have they affected, influenced, or changed you as a person? Are you a part of one, and you didn't even know it? I encourage you to think about this and look for rigged systems around you in your everyday life. Who knows? Maybe you'll find one. Also, thank you for watching. We all worked really hard on this. It's over now, though. You can go home. Thanks, bye.